Today on Brewing Around the Realm, we leave Westeros and take voyage for the final frontier as we brew a Star Trek inspired IPA named Sherman's Planet. Welcome back to Brewing Around the Realm. I'm Dave, your amateur brewmaster. Today's recipe comes to us from the September issue of BYO Magazine. I was reading this and I noticed they had a triticale based recipe, and the first thing I thought of was the Star Trek episode The Trouble with Tribbles. In that episode they mentioned quadrotriticale, which you would imagine is a futuristic version of triticale as it is today. And I thought that this was the perfect time to brew something that was Star Trek based and brew something a little bit different. A little background on triticale: it is a hybrid of wheat and rye that was first bred back in the late 1800s, but it only became commercially available in the last 20 to 30 years. I will place a link to the Wikipedia article so you can get more information if you'd like, and I've done some other research on that, which I'll also link in the description today. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Let's get on to our ingredient list. Here's today's recipe as it is in the September issue of BYO Magazine. I'm doing something that's in between these two because I'm doing a partial mash, and I went an all grain and a extract version here. So I've taken this and modified it slightly. Today's recipe will be in the description below. And here are our ingredients for today. It's 5.5 pounds of triticale malt, 5.5 pounds of 2-row, 1.4 pounds of honey malt, 1.4 pounds of wheat extract. Today's recipe calls for Idaho 7 or 007 golden hops. And the normal stuff we're using is yeast nutrient, oil flock, gypsum, and I got a special vial of yeast today from the White Lab Yeast Vault. We're using London Fog WLP00 or 066 for today's recipe. This is a special yeast that's only in the vault, and they release it once every couple of months once they get enough orders. I think this one is actually going to be released regularly starting in the spring, so you should be able to find this at your local home brew shop sometime in the near future. But definitely check out the vault from White Labs. I will put a link to the description for that. So let's get started. Yeah, I placed about 3 gallons of boiling water in here to heat this up, and I'm just about ready to put the strike water in there and get the grain bag in. Our strike water temperature for today is 172, and that is because our grain temperature is a little low. It's right around 57 degrees. In goes our strike water, and I went a little bit over. I went up to 175, figuring I was going to lose a couple of degrees in the transfer here. Alright, in goes our grain bag. And I've been using these clips that I got for 99 cents at the hardware store to keep our bag from flying in there and losing it. Alright, time to get our grain in. I'm going to start with the 2-row. We're just going to dump this in here. I'll put the honey malt in here next. And then finally, triticale. And I said once you get that in there, make sure you mix it up. You don't want any dough balls forming or anything weird going on. And this is going to get an hour infusion rest, and I'm going to come back probably every 10 minutes or so. Give this a mix, make sure everything's mixed in, and check our temperature real quick. I did go a little bit higher on the water, as I said, just to be sure. Yay! I actually hit the right temperature, and I was looking for between 1 148 and 154, and I actually hit that today. I came in at 150, and it's probably a little bit warmer than that. So I'm going to seal this up, and we'll be back in an hour. Alright, got about 5 minutes left here. We're going to get a little bit so I can do our conversion test. Looks good. Alright, so... Alright, well, our conversion is good, so we're ready to sparge. Let's get that moving. Alright, so I'm going to try to sparge this. I don't think I'm going to get the whole gallon in here, but let's see what happens. Yeah, I think that's about as much as I feel comfortable throwing in there. Mix that up a little bit. Alright, so our 10 minutes is up. What I like to do, and I found this key to keeping or getting your efficiency up, is to seal up the bag and then make sure you pick it up and swirl it around a little bit here. That will get additional sugar off, and we'll do this twice. Once I do the sparge water for the second time, when I let that sit for 20 minutes. And it doesn't hurt to, maybe pick it up a little bit, make sure you don't spill any, and slosh it around. Then I will get the first wort hops ready to go, and we'll move on to the next phase. Alright, so in go our first wort hops. This is 1.3 ounces of 007. And I'll put this first batch in here. Alright, so when you get towards the end here, don't be afraid to tilt your bucket or your mash tun forward a little bit here off the counter. Make sure you get all that out of there. So what I'll do now is do a reset. I'll open the bag up again and clamp it back on. I take the 3 gallons of 170 degree sparge water and I dump it in here. And I'm not going to get all that in there, but that's okay. And then make sure you give it a good stir. And then that gets a 20-minute rest. Alright, we're down to just a couple minutes left. Give an example of what I was talking about a couple minutes ago. And don't be afraid to get in here and slosh this around. You want to rinse all the sugar off as much as possible. I mean, pick it up. Try not to overflow your mash tun here. And slosh it around a little bit. Try to get as much of that sugar off of there as you can. And I got my big colander here. What I'm going to do is take the bag out and set it on top of here and let it drain out the rest of the way. And what we'll do is I will start boiling, and I'll add that in once I think that's fully drained, probably in a little while. There we go. Let's get this dumped in here. For anybody that wants to see, that's pretty much the maximum amount that I was going to get in there. Alright, we just came up to a boil. I'm going to set our timer here for an hour. And I'm going to throw in maybe 20% of this. Not much. The next hops addition isn't until 5 minutes left, and I will probably be back at 15 minutes left for the rest of the extract. I'm going to throw in our gypsum here, make sure that gets in there. I'm going to show everybody what I ended up here after I let the grain drain in the colander for about 45 minutes. I ended up with almost a gallon extra. And the gravity of this is actually a little bit higher, so I'm going to boil this just to the point where it's boiling, and then I will add that into the main pot. But don't be afraid, if your kettle's not big enough, you can boil some of your wort in a secondary pot and add it into the main pot at a later time, probably towards the end. It's definitely something that you should do. Don't waste your wort. and you don't want to lose anything. Alright, with 15 minutes left, I've got our yeast nutrient morph lock in there. We've got to get the rest of this, our dry malt extract in here. Usually turn your heat off, because you're going to cause problems if you don't. Alright, 0 minutes, I've turned the heat off, and in goes our last hops addition. It's another 1.3 ounces of 007, and put a lid on there, and I got a special way I'm going to cool this today. It's 16 degrees outside, so I'm going to put this outside. Here we go. Sit that there and leave it sit there for an hour or two, and that should get it down to where we need to be. So, despite the fact that it was 16 degrees outside, after an hour that's sitting outside, it only lost 25 degrees. And instead of leaving this sit out there for 8 hours, I've reverted back to the put it in the sink method. So, I think it's time to get a wort chiller and stop screwing around. Okay, so after several attempts, I got this cooled down to about 75 degrees, and I filtered out all the hop debris with a strainer. What I decided to do, I ended up with just right at 5 gallons. Normally I like to do 5.5. This recipe was targeted for 5.5, but my final gravity ended up being 1071. Or actually 1074, and I was shooting for 1071, and it was just too close. If I'd added an extra half a gallon of water to this, my final gravity would have been too low, and I wouldn't have been happy with that. So I think I decided to leave that like that, and in future videos, I think my future recipes are going to shoot for 6 gallons. That way, if I get a little bit of a discrepancy in my final volume into the fermenter, I can still make adjustments, and I won't have to worry about it. So if I make 6 gallons, or my target is 6 gallons, I end up with 5.5 or a little bit less, it's not going to be an issue. So anyways, I've got my London Fog Ale Yeast WLP 066. I will put the link to the White Labs Vault in the description. So let's get this pitched in here. I've never used a vial. I usually have the packs. Here we go. Shook this up real good to make sure that I got all the yeast in here. And that's it for today's video. I want to thank everybody for watching today's video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. I try to get out a new video usually at least once or twice a week. Brewing videos are less frequent because I can only drink so much beer. I'm only one person. But I thank everybody for watching. And if you have a comment or question, leave it in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer your questions. And make sure you check the description for today's recipe. I will have that in there. And happy brewing. I thank everybody for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.